The talented get eliminated, not because they are wrong, but because they make others feel stupid. You've seen it, the politician who can barely form a sentence yet commands millions. The CEO who fumbles through meetings, yet signs paychecks for men 10 times sharper. The engineer who designed the entire system, quietly laid off while the loud salesman gets promoted. It happens in every office, every industry, every nation. The man with the answers is called arrogant. The man with questions is called leadership material. The quiet genius becomes a threat. The agreeable fool becomes the boss. Because brilliance doesn't make people feel inspired. It makes them feel exposed. It shines a light on everything they are not, and people destroy what makes them feel small. They don't do it openly. They freeze you out. They cut your influence. They whisper you're not a team player until you disappear. This is not a flaw in the system. It is the system. Niccolò Machiavelli saw it centuries ago. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand. They don't care what you can do. They care how you make them feel, and Gustave Le Bon proved why. Crowds do not follow truth. They follow comfort. They follow whoever feels familiar, safe, simple enough to swallow. The moment you seem too sharp, too complex, too far above them, they turn on you. That is why power rarely chooses the brilliant. It chooses the ones who can look ordinary, the ones who can wear dullness like armor, who can dim their fire just enough to be tolerated, because power fears what it cannot control, so it crowns the ones who seem harmless, predictable, forgettable. They walk in as fools, they walk out with the throne. If the world keeps burying the brightest, how do you survive it? You stop looking dangerous, you stop looking like prey. That was Machiavelli's first lesson. He said every man carries virtù, the inner strength to shape events, to bend chaos to his will. But history is ruled by fortuna, the storm of chance, the shifting tides of time, and fortuna will crush even the strongest man if he rises before she is ready. You can be the sharpest mind alive. It won't matter if you rise too soon. Expose your strength before the world accepts you, and the world will see you as a threat. And the system destroys threats. It does not debate you, it surrounds you. It builds quiet alliances against you. It starves you of oxygen. You do not fall in a glorious fight. You simply vanish from the board before the game even begins. That is why Machiavelli warned, the man who wants to be a lion must first learn to be a fox. Lions announce themselves. Foxes survive, and survival comes before power. To become powerful, you must outlast the early killing season. You must live long enough for fortuna to turn in your favor, and to do that, you must stop looking like someone who could overthrow the throne. You must play small until the board belongs to you. Le Bon explained why the crowd reacts this way. Crowds are not logical. They are emotional. They are held together by feelings, not facts. They do not want truth, they want comfort. Complex minds do the opposite. They unsettle people. They break the illusion of safety. They move in ways no one can predict. And that makes them feel like chaos. And anything that feels like chaos gets rejected. To the crowd, your brilliance is not inspiring. It is alien. It is cold. It is threatening. They will brand you as arrogant, as difficult, as dangerous. And once they give you that label, they will push you out. Not because they proved you wrong, but because removing you restores their sense of safety. Le Bon called this suggestibility. Once the crowd believes you are dangerous, reason no longer matters. They will obey the feeling, not the facts. That is why the brightest men must hide their light, not because they are ashamed of it, but because showing it too soon will kill them. Even kings wait in exile before they return with armies. Even geniuses must wear dullness like armor. Pretending to be stupid is not surrender. It is strategy. It is camouflage. It is slipping through the system's defenses without waking its alarms. Society works like an immune system. It attacks what feels foreign, what feels too strong, too fast, too disruptive. It hunts brilliance like it hunts disease. If you want to change it, you cannot crash through its gates. You must drift through them like smoke, silent, invisible, untouchable. So you dim your fire, you lower your voice, you make yourself easy to swallow. You let them think you are harmless, forgettable, not worth fearing. Because if they fear you too early, they will kill you early. But if you survive their suspicion long enough, you win. You outlast them. And when the guard is down, when Fortuna turns, you strike. That is the paradox. To gain power, you cannot look powerful. Not yet. Not until it's too late for anyone to stop you. So what if you refuse to hide? What if you walk in showing your full power? The crowd will tear you apart. Laban explained it clearly. Crowds do not forgive what makes them feel small. They protect their sense of equality like a religion. The moment someone rises too far above, the crowd turns him into a villain. They must, because it's the only way to feel whole again. So they build a story. They call him arrogant, cold, dangerous. They whisper that he is unstable. They laugh at his ideas until he doubts them himself. They isolate him. They stop listening to him. And once he stands alone, they strike. It doesn't matter if he was right. Truth doesn't save him. The crowd only sees how he makes them feel. And if he makes them feel inferior, he becomes their scapegoat. Machiavelli saw this happen to reformers. He wrote that anyone who wants to change a system will face its full resistance, because those who profit from the old order will fight to the death, and those who might gain from the new one won't fight for it yet. So the reformer stands alone, exposed, and gets destroyed before he can finish what he started. Look at history. Copernicus waited until he was almost dead to publish. Bruno spoke too soon and burned alive. Tesla revealed everything and died broke, erased by slower men who smiled more. Even in business, visionaries who leap too far ahead are branded insane. Boards cut them out. Years later, safer copies of their ideas make billions. Their names are footnotes. The pattern never changes. Even the lion dies if he roars before his claws are ready. That's why Machiavelli warned, whoever wants to be a lion must first learn to be a fox. That is the cost of refusing the mask. The system will not wait for you to prove your worth. It will kill you before you get the chance. If the world hunts down the brilliant, then why does it keep lifting the fools? Because the system isn't broken. It is protecting itself. Crowds do not reward what is sharp. They reward what is safe. Gustave Le Bon called it suggestibility. A crowd is not a collection of minds. It is a single emotional organism. It moves not by logic but by imitation. And it only imitates what feels familiar. People trust those who look like them, speak like them, stumble like them. They do not follow the one who makes them feel small. Anyone who stands too far above breaks the mirror they depend on. And when the mirror breaks, fear floods in. Fear of being left behind. Fear of being exposed as ordinary. So they reject the brilliant and embrace the bland. The brilliant remind them how limited they are. The bland reassure them that they are enough. The bland say, you belong, and belonging always beats excellence in the eyes of the crowd. Le Bon also named the prestige effect. Prestige is not earned by skill, it is granted by belief. Once the crowd believes you have it, they follow without question. They copy your tone, your walk, your silence. They defend you even when you fail, because to attack you would be to admit they were wrong about you, and the crowd never admits it was wrong. This is why performance often outruns substance, because the crowd does not measure what you build. They measure how you appear. Niccolò Machiavelli warned, men judge more by the eye than by the hand. Power is theater. The actor who plays the role of power most convincingly will be treated as powerful, long before he actually is. This is also why systems exile the exceptional. Brilliance disrupts. It questions rules. It exposes weakness. And systems survive by resisting change. They operate like an immune system, attacking any cell that mutates too fast. So the machine lifts the safe ones, the simple ones, the ones who never threaten to rewrite the script, not because they are good, but because they are predictable. Predictable people keep the gears turning. Predictable people do not start revolutions. And here is the secret most never see. The system isn't malfunctioning when it ignores the brilliant. It is doing its job. It was never built to reward the best. It was built to protect itself. If this rule sounds too dark to be true, look at the people who mastered it. The most dangerous minds in history did not roar their way to power. They whispered. They hid. They played the fool until it was too late for anyone to stop them. Take Julius Caesar. At first, Rome saw him as a fading star. He withdrew to Gaul, far from the Senate's poisonous intrigues. Rumors spread that he was finished, that he had lost his taste for politics. He let them believe it. While the Senate relaxed, Caesar quietly built an army, forged alliances, and rewrote loyalty in blood and gold. By the time they realized he was not weak, he was marching on Rome. He had made himself indispensable before anyone could brand him a threat. Or Otto von Bismarck. For years, he cultivated the image of a lazy, slow-witted diplomat. Colleagues laughed at his clumsy manner, his awkward silences. They assumed he lacked ambition. They were wrong. Behind closed doors, he was calculating every move on the chessboard of Europe. When he finally struck, he unified Germany in a series of surgical wars, each timed to perfection. By the time they saw his intellect, it was wrapped in the armor of inevitability. He had made himself untouchable by first making himself invisible. Then there was Charles Maurice de Talleyrand. He survived the fall of the French monarchy, the rise of Napoleon, the Bourbon Restoration, and multiple revolutions. How? By becoming fog. He spoke little, moved slowly, appeared detached from ambition. He let others underestimate him. And in that shadow, he shaped the fate of Europe. Kings came and went. Talleyrand stayed because he never looked like a rival, only a quiet servant until the crown needed him. Not everyone chose this mask. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't. He walked away from every structure that might have given him power. He rejected politics, institutions, hierarchies. He chose exile to preserve his mind. It cost him influence, wealth, and recognition while he lived. But it gave him freedom, the freedom to speak truths so sharp that the world needed decades to catch up. And that is the choice. If you are brilliant, you must either hide it until you are untouchable, or abandon the game entirely to keep your soul intact. The middle ground does not exist. The system will not allow it. Power does not move in a straight line. It flows through hidden channels guarded by ancient instincts. And to understand why the mask works, you have to see how these channels operate. Every hierarchy is built like a pyramid of trust. At the bottom, the crowd is vast and anxious. They crave stability more than truth. Anyone who rises must look familiar enough to be accepted. If you stand out too soon, the pyramid tilts to crush you. It is not personal, it is structural. Machiavelli hinted at this when he warned that men judge more by the eye than by the hand. What they see matters more than what you can actually do. So long as you appear harmless, the system lets you climb. Appear too brilliant, and the system marks you as a threat. This threat response works like an immune system. Le Bon showed how crowds react emotionally, not rationally. They do not evaluate merit, they scan for danger. When someone speaks above their level, they do not hear insight, they hear disruption. The same instinct that once kept tribes safe from outsiders now filters out minds that move too fast. Here's the hidden mechanism. Power structures are conservative by design. Their first reflex is not to reward excellence, but to defend stability. So when true talent appears, the system tries to smother it until it becomes unavoidable. This is why so many brilliant people have to cloak themselves in ordinariness. They are not trying to deceive individuals. They are bypassing the collective reflex to destroy what seems too strong. You can think of it like a security gate. The gate is not scanning for skill. It is scanning for disruption. If you walk through glowing with genius, the alarms scream. If you walk through looking slow, vague, even clumsy, the gate lets you pass. The brilliance you hide is not lost. It is preserved for when it will be accepted rather than feared. Machiavelli called this managing virtù and fortuna. Do not reveal your virtù until fortuna tilts the battlefield in your favor. Until then, you must appear ordinary, because power is not about proving you are the strongest. It is about surviving long enough to become undeniable. This is the core principle. You dim your light not to abandon it, but to protect it. You slip under the radar until the system can no longer stop you. Only then do you remove the mask. So how do you actually do it? How do you pretend to be less than you are without becoming less? How do you walk through the fortress of power wearing the mask and still keep your edge sharp underneath? This is where the game turns from theory into craft. The first principle is threat reduction. Machiavelli warned that people fear what they cannot control. So your job is to look controllable, even when you are not. Every move you make should lower the sense of danger you project. Start with tempo. Powerful people who survive know how to slow their reactions. Quick responses trigger suspicion. They make you look sharp, calculating, even dangerous. Deliberate slowness does the opposite. It makes others feel safe, as if you are still forming thoughts while they are already ahead. In truth, you are observing, but to them, you look harmless. Second, learn the art of playing clueless when probed. When someone tests your knowledge, do not flex it. Reflect the question back. Say things like, "That's interesting, what do you think?" Or, "I'm not sure, maybe I'm missing something." Laban showed that crowds reward those who echo them, not those who tower over them. By showing uncertainty, you lower their guard. Third, simplify your ideas into stories. Complex arguments make people defensive. Narratives disarm them. Instead of explaining the logic behind your strategy, wrap it in a simple image or anecdote. Let them feel they understand you, even when they do not. The mask is not silence, it is translation. Fourth, master controlled self-deprecation. Say, "I could be wrong," or "I might be overthinking it." This creates the illusion of modesty. It makes others relax, and while they relax, you move. This is how you make room to operate without resistance. Fifth, manage your body language. Relax your posture. Avoid sharp gestures. Do not compete for space in the room. Laban showed that groups sense dominance before they hear it, so you must hide dominance until it serves you. Sixth, let others grant you prestige instead of claiming it yourself. Sociologist Pierre Bourdieu explained how symbolic capital, reputation, works best when it appears unclaimed. Instead of boasting, create situations where others speak for you. Plant ideas subtly. Let someone else say, "He's actually brilliant." It lands 10 times harder when it comes from them. Seventh, protect your backstage. Irving Goffman called this the hidden area behind performance. Do not reveal your real plans, your true alliances, or your full competence until you are untouchable. The mask works because people see only what you choose to show. Once they see everything, you are exposed, and exposure invites attack. And finally, master timing. This may be the most critical skill of all. You must know when to stop pretending. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold only when the moment is ripe. If you reveal your strength too early, you are destroyed. Too late, and the moment passes. The art is to strike when the system can no longer resist you. Put these together and you have the hidden playbook of the powerful. You move slow, you speak simply, you deflect praise. You let others carry your reputation. You build strength in secret while looking weaker than you are. And then, when you have gathered enough force, you take off the mask, and they cannot stop you. This is what most people never understand. They think the powerful rise by showing their strength, but the real elite rise by concealing it until it is undeniable. By the time the world realizes what they are, it is too late to resist them. When you grasp this, you stop competing for attention. You start building quiet momentum. You no longer burn energy proving your brilliance. You save it, you protect it, and when the moment comes, you unleash it like a weapon they never saw coming. That is how the mask becomes your greatest shield. Not a lie, a strategy, not weakness, power in disguise. The mask protects you, but it also cuts you. Every time you wear it, a small piece of you goes silent. And if you forget to take it off, you risk becoming the silence itself. Carl Jung warned about this. He said each of us has a persona, the face we show the world, and a shadow, the deeper self we keep hidden. The persona is how you survive among others. It wins trust, earns access, smooths your path. But the shadow is where your real energy lives. It holds your instincts, your ambition, your raw hunger to become more. When you pretend to be less than you are, you lean entirely on the persona. And for a while, it works. People accept you. Doors open. The system lets you through. But the shadow does not vanish just because you ignore it. It waits, it festers, and slowly you start to forget who you were before you put on the mask. That is the hidden cost of this strategy. You can lose your center. You can shrink yourself until the performance becomes permanent. While the world underestimates you, you might start underestimating yourself. Your voice gets quieter. Your thoughts get safer. The mask becomes your face. Jung's answer was individuation, the process of becoming whole. It means building a private sanctuary where the mask is never allowed. Write what you cannot say aloud. Think thoughts too sharp for the crowd. Spend time alone without an audience. This is how you keep your shadow alive and integrated instead of buried and poisonous. You also need witnesses. A few people who see the full you, who will tell you when the mask is slipping from tool to identity. They remind you that your public role is not your essence. Without them, you drift into performance until you forget you were ever performing. There is another cost few speak of, the emotional weight. When you hide your strength, people will dismiss you. They will talk over you, steal your credit, laugh at you. You must let them. You must smile through it. If you crave constant recognition, this path will break your spirit long before it builds your power. And yet, the rewards are real. You survive. You preserve your freedom to act. You gain the chance to reveal your strength on your terms instead of theirs. And when that moment comes, your power will be solid, not fragile. The Stoics understood this. They said the roles we play are not who we are. They are tools, like swords or shields. Use them when the battle demands it. Set them down when the battle is done. Never mistake the mask for your face, because in the end, power is not worth losing yourself. You must remain unseen by the system, but never invisible to yourself. That is how you walk through fire and come out whole. So now you see the hidden law. Power does not rise from brilliance. It rises from invisibility until the moment it explodes. The world is not designed to reward the exceptional. It is designed to defend itself from disruption. And this is why the system rarely chooses the best. It chooses the ones who know how to hide until they are untouchable. You have learned why the mask exists. You have learned how it works. And you have learned the price it demands. But there is one truth left. The part almost no one tells you. The mask is not the hardest part. Taking it off is. Most people never remove it. They get so used to being underestimated that they forget how to be undeniable. They stay hidden long after they could have stepped into the light. And when they finally try, the world no longer believes them. This is the real test, not pretending to be less, knowing when to stop pretending, because timing decides everything. Revealed too early, your strength will be destroyed. Revealed too late, it will fade in your hands. In the next video, we will open that door. We will ask the question no one dares to ask. When should you reveal your true power? The exact moment that makes or breaks empires. That is where the mask ends and where domination begins.